Welcome to Void Realities, a quiet place where science drifts like a dream, where time slows and the universe breathes softly with you. If the night feels heavy, if sleep feels far away, let these stories guide your mind into calm and carry you gently into rest. Time dilation: why clocks tick slower in space. The clock that breathes with you. You notice how every second feels different when you slow your breath. Time is not only measured by machines, but also by your chest's quiet rise and fall. Each heartbeat is a tiny clock ticking gently inside you. Already you sense that time may not be as steady as you once thought. Time has always seemed so simple, so steady. You wake up in the morning, glance at the glowing numbers on your phone, and trust that they are telling you the truth. Seconds, minutes, hours, they appear lined up in perfect order, like pearls on a string. Yet when you pay attention, when you turn inward and listen closely to your own body, you begin to sense that time is not quite so rigid. You breathe in, you breathe out. One slow inhale, one slow exhale. The rhythm of your breath is not as exact as the numbers on a clock, yet it is steady in its own way. When you slow it down, when you let each breath be long and soft, you notice how the minutes begin to feel different. They stretch like cloth being gently pulled. A single minute of calm breathing does not feel like the same kind of minute that rushes past you in a busy day. This is the first secret of time. It does not live only in the numbers we measure. It lives in your experience, in your body, in the way your senses and thoughts unfold. Listen to your heartbeat. That small pulse in your chest is a natural metronome, counting out the seconds of your life. Each beat is like a drop of water falling into a still pond. When you are resting, the beats are slow and quiet. When you are anxious or when you climb a staircase, they rush forward, racing ahead. Your inner clock is flexible, responding to your emotions and your actions. Even though we talk about 1 second as if it is always the same, you can feel that your own seconds expand and contract with your state of being. If you close your eyes, you can sense this rhythm. Your body carries many clocks: the rise and fall of your lungs, the pulse in your veins, the cycles of sleep and waking that flow through your days. Some of these clocks tick quickly, like your heartbeat. Others tick slowly, like the hormones that guide your appetite, or the rhythms that govern when you feel tired at night. Altogether, they form a living orchestra of time inside you. Science gives these inner rhythms a name: circadian cycles, ultradian rhythms, biological clocks. But those are only labels. What you truly feel is a landscape of flowing time, stitched into every cell, whispering through your nerves. Even as you lie still, your body is measuring time in countless ways. You may remember moments when time itself felt different. An hour in a hospital waiting room that seemed endless, a joyful afternoon that slipped by like a dream, a night of laughter that vanished too quickly. These are hints that time is not only something out there on the face of a clock, it is also something alive in here, woven into your perception, shaped by your breath and your heartbeat. Now imagine a world with no machines, no watches, no ticking seconds. Imagine living by the sun and the moon, waking with the dawn, resting with the dusk. Your body would still keep time. The same pulses and rhythms would still guide you, telling you when to eat, when to sleep, when to rest, when to run. Clocks did not invent time. They only gave us a way to measure it more precisely, to carve it into slices and label them. But precision, though useful, can also blind us. The second hand on a clock moves forward with strict obedience, yet your body's seconds are more like waves rolling in and out, never perfectly equal, always alive. The clock you carry within you is not mechanical. It is organic. It is soft. It breathes. Even the cells of your body hold a kind of timekeeper. Deep inside, proteins and chemical messengers loop in repeating cycles, setting the pace of your daily rhythms. These molecular clocks help control when you feel alert, when you grow sleepy, when your organs are ready for digestion or for repair. They are so reliable that scientists can track the time of day by studying the activity inside a single cell. You are, quite literally, a creature of time. And yet, for all this inner rhythm, there is still a larger truth waiting, because your sense of time is not only biological, it is also psychological. When you are deeply absorbed in a story, time may seem to vanish. When you are restless, minutes crawl like heavy stones. The human mind bends time, reshapes it, makes it elastic. You do not simply pass through time. You carry time within you, reshaping it with attention and feeling. Close your eyes again, breathe once more, slowly. In this stillness you can almost sense that time is not a single line, but many lines, layered and interwoven. The steady tick of the clock on the wall, the faster rhythm of your pulse, the slower rhythm of your sleep cycle, the even slower rhythms of the seasons and the years, they all move together, but not always in harmony. Sometimes they slip, sometimes they stretch apart. And in that slipping, that stretching, lies the mystery you are about to explore. For the story of time is not only about your body, it is also about the universe itself. Physicists discovered that time can bend and stretch not only in your perception, but in reality. Clocks on a mountain tick differently than clocks at sea level. A satellite in orbit carries a slightly different rhythm than your watch on the ground. Time, they learned, is not fixed. It changes with speed and with gravity. The first hints of this came from a young man named Albert Einstein, who wondered what it would be like to ride alongside a beam of light. From that simple question, a new vision of time was born, one in which seconds themselves are not absolute, but relative. But before you step into his vision, rest here a little longer. Feel your own clock, the breath that rises and falls, the heartbeat that ticks softly beneath your ribs. These are your first guides in the journey ahead. They remind you that time is not distant or abstract. It is here, pulsing gently within you, alive in every breath. And as you lie here, calm and unhurried, you may begin to wonder, if even your body's seconds can stretch and contract, what happens when the universe itself bends them? Gravity's invisible hand on time. You stand on the earth held by its steady pull. What you don't see is that gravity bends not just space, but the seconds around you. Time flows differently in the valley than on the mountain. You begin to feel the unseen hand of gravity stretching and slowing time itself. You lie still, listening to your heartbeat, sensing the seconds as they rise and fall within you. The rhythm feels personal, yet it belongs to something larger. For even as your body keeps its time, the world beneath you keeps its own. You are not floating free. You are held. You are pressed gently toward the ground by a force you cannot see. This invisible pull is gravity. You feel it in your weight, in the way your muscles push against the mattress beneath you, in the way your arms sink downward if you let them fall. It is the same force that keeps the oceans curved around the earth, that keeps the moon circling, that guides the planets in their endless dance around the sun. You cannot see gravity. You cannot touch it. And yet you feel it every moment, quietly drawing you homeward, downward, inward. For most of your life, you have thought of gravity simply as a force, something that pulls masses together. But what if it is more? What if gravity does not only shape where you stand, but also how your seconds pass? Imagine you are standing on a mountain peak. The air is thin, the world spreads wide below you, and the sky feels close. There, your watch ticks just a little faster than it would at the ocean shore. The difference is small, so small that your senses alone cannot detect it. But it is real. At the top of the mountain, time runs more quickly. Down by the sea, time slows. How could this be? How could the simple act of climbing change the pace of time itself? The answer is hidden in the way gravity touches space and time. Einstein revealed it when he showed that gravity is not simply a force pulling objects downward, but the bending of space-time itself. The Earth, massive and round, warps the fabric of reality like a stone resting on a stretched sheet. Objects roll toward it not because they are being yanked, but because space itself is curved. And if space is curved, then so is time. The stronger the pull of gravity, the more deeply time bends. A clock deep in the valley ticks more slowly than a clock on the mountain. Your body in that valley lives slightly fewer seconds than it would high above. This effect is called gravitational time dilation. The words sound technical, but the truth is simple. Gravity stretches not only space, but the very fabric of your hours and minutes. Close your eyes and imagine yourself in both places at once. One version of you stands high in the mountains, feeling the wind and watching clouds drift below. Another version stands at sea level, waves lapping air dense and heavy. Both of you breathe, both of you count seconds, yet when you meet again, the mountain self has lived just a tiny fraction more. The difference is invisible in daily life, but it is there, like a whisper too soft to hear. This is not imagination. It has been measured. Scientists place precise atomic clocks, machines so sensitive they can keep time to within a billionth of a second and compare them at different heights. The clocks disagree. The one closer to Earth's center, where gravity is stronger, ticks more slowly. The one farther from the center, higher in altitude, ticks more quickly. Reality itself is unequal in its rhythm. You may wonder why you do not notice this in your daily life. If time moves differently in different places, shouldn't it be obvious? But the shifts are so subtle that only the most delicate instruments can reveal them. For you, standing on Earth, the seconds feel steady. You cannot feel them stretch or shrink beneath you. And yet every time you climb a staircase, every time you fly in an airplane, every time you rest on a mountain peak, your time bends ever so slightly. Gravity, then, is not just a weight on your body, it is a hand on your clock. Think of your heart again. Its beats are guided not only by your biology, but also by the gravity beneath your feet. If you were to carry your heart up a tower, its beats would slip into a rhythm slightly faster than the same heart at the base. You would never feel it, but it would be true. The deeper you rest in Earth's gravity, the more gently your seconds are stretched, slowed, held. Now extend your mind outward. Imagine the Earth itself. At its core, where gravity is strongest, time runs slowest. At the surface, time runs a little faster. High above, on the edge of space, faster still. Your planet is not only a sphere of rock and water, it is also a landscape of flowing seconds, a layered field where time passes at different speeds depending on how far you are from the center. And beyond Earth, the effect grows even stronger. Near the surface of a massive star, time is dragged down, slowed, thickened. In the emptiness far from stars and planets, time runs more freely, like water with no obstacles. To live in the universe is to live within these gradients, to move across invisible rivers of seconds that change as you move closer or farther from mass. You might pause here and wonder, if time is being stretched and slowed, does that mean life itself changes? The answer is yes. Not only clocks, but every process, your breathing, your thinking, your very aging, follows the same bend. If you lived all your life at the bottom of a valley, you would age just a fraction more slowly than someone who lived all their life in the mountains. Not by much, but by enough that physics insists it is true. You may not see it, but reality carries the imprint of gravity's hand. This is why scientists must account for time dilation when they build technologies that depend on precision. The GPS in your pocket guiding you through streets relies on satellites orbiting above the Earth. Those satellites tick at a different rate than the clocks on the ground. Without correcting for gravity's bending of time, your location would drift, your directions would falter. Even the simple act of walking to a cafe would be lost in error. The world works only because we listen to how gravity reshapes time. As you rest here, you may feel a soft wonder. The very pull that keeps your body grounded, that makes a dropped cup fall, that guides the moon's orbit. This same pull is also shaping the seconds you live. You are not separate from it. You are part of its rhythm, your own moments stretched and held by the Earth's embrace. As you rest here, you may feel a soft wonder. the very pull that keeps your body grounded, that makes a dropped cup fall, that guides the moon's orbit. This same pull is also shaping the seconds you live. You are not separate from it. You are part of its rhythm, your own moments, stretched and held by the Earth's embrace. Time, then, is not one steady river. It is many streams, slowed or quickened by the shape of space-time itself. You live inside this fabric, carried along by forces you cannot feel directly, yet forces that quietly sculpt the length of every breath you take. And so you lie here, your heartbeat steady, your breath calm, feeling the ground hold you. You begin to sense that time is not just something you measure, but something the Earth itself is shaping beneath you. Einstein's daydream of light. A young man once imagined riding alongside a beam of light. That quiet thought unraveled the idea of time as fixed and absolute. Einstein whispered to the world, "Clocks can bend, stretch, and drift." You drift with his thought gently, as if carried on a current of starlight. You rest in the thought of gravity's invisible hand, the way Earth itself bends your seconds. It is humbling, knowing that time is not a single rigid drumbeat, but a rhythm that shifts with where you stand. And yet, this is only the beginning. To see deeper into the mystery, you must step into the quiet mind of a young man who once asked a very simple question. What would it be like to chase a beam of light? The man's name was Albert Einstein. At the time, he was not famous. He was not a professor or a celebrated thinker. He was a clerk in a patent office in Switzerland, reading through inventions, stamping forms, and living an ordinary life. And yet in his mind he carried a question so luminous that it would reshape the universe. Close your eyes and picture him at his desk. The papers are stacked high, the air is still, and outside the window, trams roll slowly down the street. But in his imagination, Einstein is no longer sitting still. He is moving at unimaginable speed, side by side with a shaft of sunlight. What would he see riding alongside light itself? He pictured himself racing faster and faster until he matched the speed of the beam. In his daydream, the wave of light beside him would freeze, its ripples locked in place like a sculpture in glass. But this thought disturbed him, because physics insisted that light could never appear frozen. Light, no matter how you move, always rushes forward at the same speed. If you ran after it or away from it, it would still outrun you by the same amount. It was as if light obeyed a law beyond all others, a constant written into the fabric of reality. And so Einstein asked, if light is always the same speed for everyone, what does that mean for time itself? This was the seed of relativity, a simple, almost childlike image, a young man chasing light. Yet it cracked open the ancient certainty that time and space were fixed, absolute, unchanging. Imagine now that you are on a train moving swiftly along the tracks. In your hand you hold a flashlight and switch it on. To you, the beam leaps forward at the speed of light, just as it should. Now picture someone standing on the platform as the train rushes past. To that observer, your flashlight is moving as well, carried by the speed of the train. And yet, when they measure, the beam of light still moves at the same speed. Always the same, no matter how the train or the observer is moving. This defies intuition. You might expect the beam to be faster or slower, depending on your own motion, the way sound changes when a car horn rushes past. But light refuses to play by those rules. It is steadfast, constant, the same for everyone. And so something else must give way. If light will not bend, then time must. Here lies Einstein's great insight. Time and space are not absolute. They are flexible. They bend and stretch so that the speed of light can remain unbroken. The faster you move, the more your time slows, the more your space contracts. Reality reshapes itself so that light never falters. Imagine again Einstein's daydream. He is no longer a clerk at his desk. He is soaring alongside a golden beam, the countryside blurring past, the sky unraveling into patterns of energy and rhythm. In his vision, clocks on the ground tick differently than clocks in motion. Two observers living in different speeds live in different times. Their seconds slip apart. What began as a quiet thought became a revolution. In 1905, Einstein published what he called the special theory of relativity. The word special was modest, but its implications were vast. It told us that time is not universal. There is no single clock for the cosmos. Each of us carries our own rhythm, tied to our motion, tied to our frame of reference. Time is relative. Pause and let that sink in. For centuries, people imagined time as a grand cosmic heartbeat, steady, identical for all. But Einstein showed that there are as many times as there are observers. Your seconds are not my seconds. A traveler racing through space ages differently than one who stands still. The universe does not keep a single beat. It keeps a symphony, with each voice carrying its own rhythm. This is the wonder of relativity. It is not abstract, it is lived. Astronauts on the International Space Station moving swiftly in orbit age slightly less than you on the ground. Their seconds are stretched, their time flows differently. The effect is small, but it is real as the breath you are taking now. And yet, in the quiet of Einstein's daydream, it feels simple. He was not surrounded by chalkboards filled with equations, not yet. He was a dreamer following the thread of a single thought. If light is constant, then time must bend. As you lie here, you may sense a kinship with him. He too was searching not only for knowledge but for understanding. He too felt that science was not just numbers but story, not just law but poetry. In his vision, the universe becomes alive, flexible, breathing. Time, once thought rigid, is revealed as soft like fabric. The image of the young clerk riding light carries you further. You imagine yourself beside him, both of you drifting in this impossible chase. The countryside falls away, the stars emerge sharp and glowing. The beam beside you hums with energy, refusing to freeze, insisting on motion. And in this refusal, you feel the universe whisper, "Time is not fixed." This realization may feel unsettling. If time is flexible, then what does it mean to grow older, to measure your life in years and days? But rather than unsettling, it can feel freeing. You are not trapped inside an unchanging cage of hours. You are part of a larger, flowing pattern, one in which time is as alive as you are. Einstein's daydream is still alive today, woven into every technology you use, every satellite that guides your path, every measurement of the cosmos. But it began with imagination, with the simple daring to ask, what if? You breathe softly, drifting deeper into this thought. You feel that you too could ride beside a ray of sunlight, carried on its brilliance, watching time shift around you like ripples on water. And as you drift, you realize that light does more than reveal relativity. It also points to the greater truth, that space and time are not separate, but one fabric. The astronaut's slow clock. Far above Earth, an astronaut floats, her watch ticking differently than yours. Her seconds stretch just a little under weaker gravity and faster motion. Your times, once aligned, now slip apart, invisible yet real. You imagine her heartbeat echoing slower across the quiet sky. You are still drifting in Einstein's vision, the beam of light racing beside you, carrying the secret that time itself can bend. Now the thought becomes more than theory. It leaves the quiet desk of a patent clerk and moves outward into the vast sky. For if time truly stretches and folds with speed, then you must ask, what happens to those who live among the stars? Picture her now, an astronaut, floating above Earth in the stillness of orbit. Through the small window of her station, she sees the curve of the blue planet below, delicate and glowing against the dark. Her watch ticks on her wrist. Your watch ticks on yours. Both watches were once in perfect agreement, their seconds stepping forward together. But now, separated by distance and motion, they have begun to slip apart. You cannot see it, she cannot feel it, and yet it is there. Her seconds are moving differently than yours. The astronaut lives in two competing currents of time. One is set by her speed, for she circles Earth at nearly 28,000 kilometers per hour, faster than any passenger jet you will ever ride. According to relativity, this high speed slows her time, making each second stretch out just a little longer compared to yours on the ground. The other current is set by gravity. In orbit, gravity is weaker than on Earth's surface. Paradoxically, this makes her time run slightly faster than yours. One effect pulls her seconds longer, the other nudges them shorter. Together, they create a delicate balance in which her clock drifts differently than yours. This effect is not fantasy, it is measured. On the International Space Station, astronauts age a little less than those who remain on Earth. The difference is tiny, fractions of a second across months, but it is real. If she lived her whole life in orbit, she would come home slightly younger than you, even if only by a breath of time. You pause and let that settle in. Aging is not absolute, it is relative. The beating of the heart, the growth of the cells, the length of a single life. These two are stretched and slowed by the great fabric of space-time. Imagine watching her from Earth. She is not only far away in distance, but in time itself. The gap is invisible, like a veil of glass, yet undeniable. Your moments and hers no longer align. She carries her own rhythm, drifting slowly beyond your reach. It feels poetic, almost melancholic. Two lives that began in sync, now edging apart, not because of choice, but because of the cosmos itself. This is the astronaut's slow clock. Now picture yourself inside her world. You are there, floating, held by nothing but the gentle tug of orbit. The Earth rolls endlessly beneath you, oceans shimmering, deserts glowing with the color of rust, clouds drifting in silver veils. Each day you see 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets. Your body keeps its rhythm, your watch ticks forward, but deep beneath that steady pulse, your time is not the same as the time of those below. You are moving through Einstein's dream, living proof of his vision. Every breath, every heartbeat, every hour of your sleep is stretched by motion and gravity. You are not outside time, you are inside a different version of it. Think of what this means for connection. When you speak to someone on Earth, their voice travels to you at the speed of light, almost instant. The distance in space is conquered by technology. But the distance in time is stranger. Their seconds and your seconds are not identical. Over long stretches, this difference grows, a widening seam between your lives, and yet you would never notice it in daily living. To you, your time feels steady. To them, theirs feels steady. The drift is not visible in a phone call or a glance at a watch. It reveals itself only when you compare carefully with the most delicate of instruments. Relativity is not loud, it is soft. It is the quiet divergence of two clocks that once ticked as one. In this softness lies the mystery. Reality is not made of absolutes, but of relationships. Time itself is relational. It belongs not to the universe alone, but to the one who is moving, to the one who is waiting, to the one who is looking outward. Now imagine you are back on Earth years later when the astronaut returns. She steps off the ship smiling, her heart still beating, her mind still bright. She is not younger in any way that your eyes could see, but compared to you, compared to the rhythm of your seconds, she has lived just a little less. She is by a sliver behind you in time. The twin paradox, once a thought experiment, becomes lived truth. Those who move fast, those who drift in orbit live differently than those who remain still. We are all bound together, yet our paths through time diverge. This does not make life unfair. It makes life wondrous. It means that time is not an impersonal machine, but a fabric that bends around every life, every journey, every orbit. The astronaut's story is yours as well. When you fly on an airplane, your time shifts a little. When you stand on a mountain, it shifts again. You live in a universe where time is never entirely equal, where every journey is also a quiet divergence of clocks. As you lie here now, breathing softly, you can imagine your own slow drift through this fabric. Your seconds are yours, unique to the path you are on. Someone else, on a different path, carries their own. And in the meeting of these different times, the story of relativity unfolds. Einstein's daydream is no longer only a dream. It is written into your GPS device, correcting itself for the slowing and speeding of satellite clocks. It is written into the lives of astronauts, whose journeys carry them into younger seconds. It is written into the future of exploration, when human beings may one day sail beyond Earth, their time bending even further as they cross the great distances of space. You breathe with this thought, calm and unhurried. The astronaut's slow clock is a mirror of your own, a reminder that time is not fixed but alive, moving with you, shaped by speed and gravity. And in this realization, you feel a softness, a comfort. Because if time is flexible, then your life too is part of something larger, something fluid. You are not a rigid machine of seconds, you are a traveler, carried gently by currents you cannot see. The twin who waits. Two twins share a birthday, two clocks perfectly in sync. One boards a ship racing near the speed of light, while the other stays behind. When they meet again, their ages no longer match. You linger in this paradox, wondering how time can play such a quiet trick. You are still floating in orbit with the astronaut, sensing her seconds stretch differently from yours. The thought lingers. If one person's clock can slip away from another's, then what happens when the difference grows large, when years pass under unequal skies? This is where the story of the twins begins. Imagine two brothers or two sisters. It does not matter. They are born on the same day, at the same moment, their lives beginning in perfect harmony. Their heartbeats are nearly in step, their growth side by side. The rhythm of their childhood is one, the laughter of their games shared, their seconds indistinguishable from each other. But one of them dreams of the stars. When the chance comes, they leave Earth behind, boarding a ship designed to move faster than anything before. The other remains at home, watching the launch, waving goodbye, their feet planted in familiar soil. For a while the clocks remain close, messages travel between them, a bond kept alive across distance. The one on Earth lives through ordinary days, the rising sun, the changing seasons, the quiet passing of years. The one in space feels time stretch, each moment lengthened by the speed of their journey. To them it feels normal. Their body, their heart, their watch all keep steady rhythm. But in comparison to their twin, their life begins to drift. This is the twin paradox, one of the most famous stories in relativity. It is not paradox because it is impossible, but because it challenges intuition. Both twins feel their time as natural, as correct. Each one breathes, eats, grows older without noticing anything strange. And yet, when the traveling twin returns, they are younger. Not metaphorically, not in feeling, physically, biologically, measurably younger. The earthbound twin has lived more years, their body has carried more seconds, their cells have aged further. The spacefaring twin who raced near the speed of light has carried fewer. Pause for a moment and imagine this reunion, two faces once so alike, now showing different stories. One carries lines etched by more time, while the other appears untouched by those extra years. They embrace joyful and astonished, bound together by love, but separated by the bending of time. It feels like a fairy tale, a promise of youth preserved by flight. Yet it is no fantasy. It is written into the mathematics of Einstein's relativity, confirmed in experiments with fast-moving particles, confirmed in the delicate shifts of atomic clocks carried aboard airplanes and satellites. The faster you move, the more slowly your time unfolds, and so the twin who waits ages faster. Think of the emotions that might stir in them. To wait is to carry time heavily, to mark days on a calendar, to grow older with each passing season, to hold memory after memory while wondering about the one who has gone away. Their seconds fall steadily, inescapably, each day flowing into the next. The traveling twin, meanwhile, looks back at Earth. To them, the planet itself seems changed, rushing ahead, its clocks moving quickly compared to their own. They see their siblings' life advancing faster than theirs, as if the Earth has slipped into a hurried current. Each twin believes the other's time is the one being altered, and they are both right in a sense. For time is relative to the one who moves, to the one who waits, to the one who observes. It is not that one rhythm is correct and the other is mistaken. It is that reality itself contains both, coexisting, waiting to be compared at the moment of reunion. Imagine now that you are the twin who stayed. You see your sibling return from the stars, their face carrying fewer years than yours. You smile, but perhaps you also feel a strange ache. You have waited so long, and in that waiting you have surrendered more time. They have returned with less. They are both familiar and unfamiliar, a mirror that has skipped ahead or perhaps stayed behind. Imagine too that you are the twin who traveled. You step off the ship and see your sibling aged beyond you. You love them still, but it feels as if you have stolen something, a secret gift of younger years. You do not feel different, but the world insists you are. The clocks agree, the measurements are exact. You have lived less. This is the quiet trick of time dilation. It is not loud, it does not reveal itself in the ticking of your watch, in the beating of your heart. It appears only when two lives, once parallel, cross paths again after moving through different journeys of speed. The paradox is not just a thought experiment. It hints at the reality of human futures. If one day ships travel near the speed of light, if explorers sail to distant stars and return, they will come back changed in relation to the Earth they left. They will find old friends grown older, children turned into elders, while they themselves have aged only a fraction. Time, then, is not a universal current. It is a river with many branches, each life carried on its own stream. When you meet again, you find you have traveled through different waters, even if you began together. As you lie here now, resting, you can feel the strangeness of it, the idea that you and someone you love could share every moment in harmony, and yet, through the bending of space-time, arrive at different destinations of age. It is unsettling, but it is also tender. It reveals how deeply personal time is, how each heartbeat is not just a measure of life, but a unique journey through the cosmos. The twin who waits is a reminder of patience, of love stretched across distance. The twin who travels is a reminder of curiosity, of daring that bends reality itself. Together they embody the truth, that time is not one path, but many, and that each choice, each journey reshapes the seconds you are given. And so, as you hold this story close, you feel a question rising gently within you. If speed can stretch time, if gravity can bend it, if even two twins can be pulled apart by their journeys, then what about the very ground beneath your feet? What about the places where the earth itself shapes time differently? Mountains, oceans, and shifting seconds. Even here on Earth, height and depth change the rhythm of clocks. On a mountain peak, time runs just a little faster than by the sea. Invisible shifts, unnoticed by your body, shape every moment you live. You begin to see Earth itself as a landscape of flowing seconds. You are still lingering with the twins, one who waited and one who traveled, their lives separated by the bending of time. The story feels distant, almost too far from the world you know. Rockets, light-speed journeys, spacefaring explorers, these belong to the realm of imagination. And yet, the bending of time is not only out there in the cosmos, it is here, beneath your feet, in the familiar landscapes of Earth. Time too shifts on mountains and oceans. Imagine standing by the sea. The waves are endless, rolling and curling, the salt wind cool on your skin. You feel rooted, heavy, close to the planet's core. Gravity here is strong, pulling you downward with full embrace. Now imagine yourself high on a mountain peak, snow drifting, air thin and clear. The world spreads far below you, the pull of Earth weaker, just slightly less insistent. In these two places your watch ticks differently. On the mountain top, time runs a little faster. Down by the ocean, it runs a little slower. The difference is so small that you would never sense it in your body, never notice it in your breath or heartbeat. And yet, the universe does not lie. Every clock, no matter how subtle, responds to gravity's hand. The closer you are to Earth's center, the more gravity bends your seconds. The farther you stand from that center, the freer your time becomes. This is not theory alone. Scientists have measured it. They placed atomic clocks so precise they can keep time to within billionths of a second on mountaintops and in valleys, and they disagreed. The clocks whispered the truth. Time itself flows differently depending on where you stand. And so every landscape is also a map of shifting seconds. Pause for a moment and imagine Earth not as rock and ocean, but as a living sculpture of time. At sea level, time slows, pulled by gravity's depth. At the peaks of mountains, it hurries forward just slightly. You live in this invisible relief, a world where geography is not only measured in meters and miles, but in seconds gained and seconds lost. Think of what this means for your body. If you were to live your whole life by the sea, you would age a fraction more slowly than someone who lived on a mountain. The difference is small, fractions of a second across a lifetime, but it exists, written into the very fabric of space-time. Every heartbeat, every breath, every memory you gather carries this subtle imprint of place. You begin to sense how profoundly intimate this is. Time is not only cosmic, not only tied to the speed of light or the orbit of satellites, it is woven into the very ground beneath you. The seconds you live are shaped by where you stand. Now picture a journey. You climb a hill carrying a clock with you. At the base it ticks in one rhythm, at the top it ticks in another. By the time you return, the two rhythms have drifted apart ever so slightly. You might not see it with your eyes, but the universe has kept account. Your walk has not only changed your view of the world, it has changed your relationship to time. Perhaps you feel the strangeness of this, the quiet wonder. A mountain is not just a mountain. An ocean is not just an ocean. They are sculptors of seconds, bending time as surely as they bend the wind and weather. The ground beneath your feet is alive with invisible rhythms. And yet this shifting does not disrupt life. Your body adjusts seamlessly. Your inner clocks, your breath, your heartbeat, they keep their pace, unaware of the difference. You do not live in confusion. You live in harmony, carried along by your own rhythm, even as the Earth's gravity reshapes the seconds around you. Technology, though, cannot ignore it. Satellites in orbit rely on accounting for these differences, just as astronauts must. Without correction, your GPS would falter, distances would blur, maps would become useless. The digital voice that guides you down a street is possible only because scientists have listened to the whispers of time as it bends with gravity. And so, the mountain and the ocean are not just scenery. They are reminders that you live in a layered world of time. Your seconds are not equal to those of someone standing elsewhere. Every moment you live is part of a wider tapestry, stretched and softened by the Earth's shape. As you breathe with this awareness, you may feel a kind of comfort. The universe is vast, but its mysteries touch your ordinary life. Even your morning walk, even a trip to the shore, even a gaze at a distant mountain carries with it the quiet bending of time. Time is not only measured in laboratories or in space stations, it is measured in the whisper of gravity, in the rise and fall of landscapes, in the way your seconds flow differently depending on where you rest. And so you lie here now, your body heavy, your breath soft, sensing the earth beneath you. The mountain and the ocean become more than places. They become teachers, showing you that time itself is flexible, that the world is stitched not only with space, but with rhythm. You rest in this thought, gentle and unhurried, and you begin to wonder, if mountains and oceans can shape your seconds so softly, what happens near the most extreme places of all, those deep wells of gravity where time itself nearly stops? The heartbeat of black holes. Near a black hole, time slows almost to stillness. From far away, its edge looks like a frozen clock face. You imagine standing there, hearing your heart slow to silence. The universe outside would race on while you remain suspended in twilight. You have just stood on mountain peaks and walked along the sea, sensing how even the earth itself sculpts time with its gravity. The shifts there were gentle, like ripples in a pond, fractions of seconds across years. But now your imagination is drawn to something far more powerful, far more extreme. You wonder, if mountains and oceans can bend time softly, what happens where gravity is overwhelming, where the very fabric of space-time collapses inward? This is the realm of black holes. Close your eyes and picture one, not as a hole in the ground, not as a tunnel, but as a dark sphere suspended in space, invisible yet immense. Around it stars may orbit, gas may swirl, light itself may curve. At its heart lies a mystery, a place where gravity is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape. And in the presence of such gravity, time itself behaves in ways that defy your ordinary sense. Imagine that you drift slowly toward it. At first, nothing feels strange. From a distance, the black hole is quiet, its presence sensed only in the orbits of nearby stars or the glow of matter spiraling into its grasp. But as you come closer, you begin to feel the weight of its pull, not on your body alone, but on your time. Your watch ticks on your wrist. You glance at it and its rhythm seems unchanged. But if someone far away, safe from the black hole, were to watch you, they would see something astonishing. Your watch, your movements, your heartbeat, all of them would appear to slow. The closer you come to the black hole, the slower you seem to move, until finally, at the very edge, the event horizon, you appear to freeze. From their perspective, you never cross that boundary. You hover there, forever suspended in twilight, your final moments stretched across eternity. And yet, from your perspective, nothing unusual happens. You continue to move. You drift across the horizon, your time flowing normally. You do not feel frozen. You feel only the steady rhythm of your own seconds. This is the strange paradox of relativity. Two truths, both real, depending on where you stand. Time near a black hole is not destroyed, it is stretched. Stretched so powerfully that what feels ordinary to you becomes eternity to someone far away. Pause and rest in this thought. Imagine your heartbeat slowing, not in your own chest, but in the eyes of an observer watching from safety. To them, each pulse grows longer and longer apart, until finally it halts altogether. Your body becomes a silent statue poised on the edge of the abyss. Yet within yourself your heart still beats, time still moves, life still flows. This is what it means to say that black holes bend time. They do not merely pull matter, they pull seconds, stretching them into threads that almost do not move at all. Now widen your view. Imagine the universe around you continuing as you remain near the horizon. Galaxies turn, stars are born and die, civilizations rise and fall, all while you linger in a single moment. For those beyond the black hole, your seconds have slowed so much that their world races past you. You are a ghost, trapped in a time that never reaches its conclusion. It feels eerie, but also profound, because it reveals the flexibility of time in its most extreme form. Time is not a river that flows evenly everywhere. It is a fabric that stretches unevenly, tugged and pulled by gravity. At mountains and oceans the tug is gentle. Near black holes it is absolute. The event horizon marks the boundary. Cross it, and even light cannot return. To an outside observer you never quite cross. You fade, dimming, your signals stretched thinner, redder, weaker until they vanish. To you, though, you continue onward. You pass into a region where time and space trade places, where the very structure of reality is reversed. Physics describes this with equations, but your mind feels it as a plunge into the unknown. And still your heartbeat guides you, slow, steady, carrying you into mystery. Astronomers too have listened to the heartbeat of black holes. They cannot see the black holes directly, but they can watch matter fall toward them, heated until it glows with X-rays. They can watch stars circle invisible companions, their orbits betraying the mass hidden in darkness. And most recently they have even seen an image, the faint ring of light encircling the void, captured by a network of telescopes that span the Earth. In that image, time itself seems frozen, light trapped on the edge of eternity. But for you here in this meditation, the black hole is not only an object of science, it is an object of wonder. It is the ultimate reminder that time is not steady, that the seconds you take for granted can be stretched into near stillness by gravity's hand. And so you linger in imagination at the event horizon, feeling your heartbeat echo slower and slower. The outside world rushes past, leaving you behind. You are a statue, yet also alive. You are still, yet still moving. You are caught between two truths, both valid. This is the strange gift of relativity, that time belongs not to the universe alone, but to each observer within it. Now let your mind drift further. Think of what it means for human life. Imagine a traveler who hovers near the edge of a black hole, shielded somehow from its destructive power. They spend an hour there, perhaps a day. To them it feels ordinary, their seconds flowing as usual. But when they return to distant space, they find that years, centuries, perhaps millennia have passed elsewhere. The universe has aged while they have barely begun. The black hole then becomes not only a destroyer, but a time machine, though not in the playful sense of science fiction, but in the solemn truth of physics. To linger near one is to trade your moments for the future of the cosmos. You emerge not into your own time, but into what comes after. And yet, in the stillness of this meditation, you need not fear. You are not falling into destruction. You are only drifting at the edge, listening to the hush of your own heart as it slows in the eyes of the universe. There is comfort here, strangely enough. Comfort in knowing that time can stretch so profoundly that the universe is vast enough to hold not one rhythm, but many. Comfort in knowing that even the strongest gravity cannot erase time. It can only reshape it. You breathe softly. You imagine your seconds lengthened, drawn out into strands that nearly touch infinity. And you sense that black holes are not only places of fear, but places of awe. They are reminders that time is not yours to command. It is a gift, fragile and shifting, held in the hands of gravity. And as you lie here resting, you wonder what it means to carry time in your pocket, to live your daily life with seconds shaped not only by cosmic extremes, but by the very devices you depend on. For if black holes remind you of time stretched to eternity, then your phone, your watch, your GPS remind you of time shaped by technology, corrected and aligned so that your footsteps follow the right path. The heartbeat of black holes fades into the rhythm of your own, guiding you gently toward the next question. What happens when time, bent by gravity and speed, must be measured and carried in your pocket? Time in your pocket. A small device in your pocket listens to the whispers of orbiting satellites. GPS depends on correcting for the stretching of time in space. Your morning walk is guided by clocks that live in two different worlds. Every step you take is proof that time itself bends with gravity and speed. You have just drifted at the edge of a black hole, feeling time stretch into near silence, your heartbeat slowed almost to stillness in the eyes of the universe. The vision was cosmic, immense beyond imagination. Now return gently to your daily life, to the world of sidewalks, traffic lights, and small screens glowing in your palm. And yet, even here, perhaps especially here, the bending of time is close. In your pocket lies a device you use without thinking. You unlock it with a finger, check the hour, glance at a map, send a message, step forward. It seems ordinary, almost invisible in its function. But beneath its glowing screen is a quiet marvel. It carries within it the whispers of satellites circling high above the earth, and those whispers depend on time itself, bending with gravity and speed. This is GPS. The global positioning system is built not on maps alone, but on clocks. At least 24 satellites orbit the Earth, each one carrying atomic clocks so precise they can keep time to a billionth of a second. These satellites are not merely floating markers, they are storytellers of time. Each one broadcasts its rhythm, a pulse that says, "This is where I am, this is when I am." Your device listens to these signals, comparing the tiny differences in their timing, using them to calculate your position. By measuring how long it takes for a signal to travel from the satellite to your phone, your pocket device can tell you where you stand on Earth within meters, or even centimeters. But here lies the quiet wonder. Those satellite clocks do not tick at the same rate as the clocks on Earth. In orbit, far above the surface, gravity is weaker. Time there runs faster than it does for you on the ground. At the same time, the satellites move quickly, circling Earth twice a day. Their speed slows their time, stretching each second. These two effects do not cancel perfectly. Together they create a drift, a difference between the seconds of the satellites and the seconds of your watch. If this drift were left uncorrected, GPS would fail. Within a single day, your location would be wrong by kilometers. You would walk toward a cafe and find yourself directed into an alley. A plane would miss its runway, a ship would stray off course, the world would lose its bearings, and so engineers correct for relativity. They adjust the satellites, accounting for the bending of time. Every moment you follow directions on your phone, every time you watch the small blue dot move along a street, you are witnessing Einstein's vision at work. The bending of time is not only a story of astronauts and black holes, it is in your pocket, guiding your steps. Pause and let that thought sink in. The very act of walking across your city depends on understanding that time is not absolute. Your location, your journey, your connection to the world, all of it relies on clocks ticking differently in orbit than on Earth. You may not feel it, but you live in two times at once. The time of Earth, heavy with gravity, and the time of the satellites, lighter, faster, drifting differently. Your device listens to both, weaving them together into one map of your world. This realization changes how you see ordinary life. That morning walk to the park, that drive across town, that delivery tracked in real time, all of it is possible because of relativity. What Einstein once dreamed, what he once puzzled over at his desk in Switzerland, now lives in your pocket, guiding you through streets and skies. Think of it like this: every step you take is triangulated by beams of light that have crossed different rivers of time. The satellite's signals travel down through a sky where seconds run fast, into the denser pull of Earth where seconds run slow. Your device untangles the difference, turning warped rhythms into precise directions. And so, the bending of time is not a distant concept. It is part of your everyday story. Let yourself feel the wonder of this. As you walk, you are guided by a chorus of satellites, each singing its own tempo. Your phone listens, interprets, corrects. It translates the uneven music of relativity into the steady voice that tells you, turn left in 200 meters. You carry this cosmic technology casually, without thought. But tonight, in this calm reflection, you see its hidden depth. The universe bends time, and you live inside its flexibility without noticing. Now imagine setting your phone aside. Imagine holding a simple watch in your hand. Even it, too, is part of this bending. If you carried it high up a tower, its seconds would drift from those at the bottom. If you placed it on a plane, its rhythm would slip compared to yours on the ground. You are surrounded by clocks, each one ticking to its own rhythm, each one shaped by place and speed. You do not need to measure this to feel its meaning. It means that time is not something given once and for all. It is something alive, something contextual, something woven into every step you take. The device in your pocket is a mirror of this truth. It reminds you that your life is not lived in isolation. You are part of a system, a network, a shared rhythm where time is corrected, aligned, harmonized. Relativity does not separate you from the world, it connects you to it. And so you lie here now, reflecting. Your seconds stretch softly, your breath rising and falling, while high above you satellites hum their rhythm. Their time is not your time, but together, their voices guide you home. In the end, what matters is not that time bends, but that we have learned to listen to it. We have learned to live within its flexibility, to build our lives with it, to navigate by its song. Every journey you take is proof that the universe is not rigid, but gentle, elastic, alive. You close your eyes and imagine the blue dot moving on the map, leading you forward. That dot is not only you. It is a story of time, corrected and aligned so that your steps carry you exactly where you need to go. The human clock within inside you, rhythms of sleep, hunger, and thought, form an inner timekeeper. But even your biology bends to the cosmic laws of relativity. You sense that your body's seconds are part of a wider tapestry, a personal clock woven into the universe's shifting flow. You have just wandered through the invisible currents of GPS satellites, listening to the way their seconds drift differently from yours, and how technology harmonizes them into a single voice that guides your steps. Now you return inward, to the most familiar of places, your own body. Because even without machines, without satellites or watches, you carry a clock that never leaves you. This is the human clock within. It beats quietly in the rise and fall of your breath, in the steady pulse of your heart, in the patterns that shape when you grow tired, when you wake, when you hunger, when you heal. These rhythms are ancient, older than civilization, carved into your biology by the turning of Earth beneath the sun. Science gives these names: circadian rhythms, ultradian cycles, biological clocks. But you do not need the labels. You already feel them. You know the heaviness that settles on your eyelids at night. You know the bright sharpness of morning, the fading focus of late afternoon, the second wind that sometimes carries you past midnight. You live in these waves without effort. Inside your brain, a cluster of cells called the suprachiasmatic nucleus keeps watch. It listens to light, syncing your inner rhythm with the day outside. In every cell of your body, proteins loop and spiral, forming cycles that last about 24 hours. Your body is not random. It is organized by time, guided by inner clocks that tick in harmony with one another. Pause for a moment and feel it. Your breath, your pulse, the slow drift of sleepiness across the day. This is your personal timekeeper. Yet even here, relativity touches you. If you lived your life by the sea, gravity would bend your seconds slightly longer. If you lived on a mountain, your time would run just a fraction faster. Your biology would never notice. Your circadian rhythms would still rise and fall. Your heart would still keep its beat. But compared to someone elsewhere, your inner clock would drift. Even the most personal rhythm, the one in your cells, does not escape the stretching of time. Think of what this means. Your biology is not separate from the universe. It is woven into the same fabric. Every heartbeat, every breath, every cycle of sleep is written into space-time, bent gently by gravity, stretched softly by speed. You carry the cosmos within your chest. Now imagine two people in different places, one by the ocean, one in the mountains. Both feel tired at night, both wake with the sun. Yet when compared with delicate instruments, their inner clocks would not match perfectly. One body would have lived just slightly more seconds than the other. They would never feel the difference, yet it would be there, written quietly into their lives. This is humbling, but also beautiful. It means that your body is not an island. It is part of a wider symphony, your rhythms entwined with the rhythms of Earth, the sun, the galaxies beyond. You are a clock inside a larger clock, a heartbeat within a greater heartbeat. And yet, your human clock is not only physical, it is also felt. Time lives in your emotions, in the way an hour of waiting stretches endlessly while an hour of laughter vanishes in a blink. Your brain, your heart, your memories, they bend time subjectively, even as the cosmos bends it physically. So you live in two times, the inner time of perception and the outer time of relativity. One measured by your feelings, the other by the bending of space-time. Both are real, both shape your life. Close your eyes and imagine your inner clock as a lantern glowing softly inside you. It casts its light outward, synchronizing with the dawn and dusk, with the rise of the moon, with the ticking of external clocks. But it also listens inward, to the whispers of your body, to the pulse of your veins. You are both receiver and giver of rhythm, both part of the universe and its echo. This is why sleep restores you, why hunger guides you, why your body follows patterns even when you try to resist them. You are not a machine running on external numbers. You are a living clock, tuned to the cycles of life itself. And still the paradox lingers. Your inner clock feels steady, but the universe insists it is not. If you left Earth and traveled at great speed, your rhythms would slow compared to those who remained. You would sleep, breathe, age, all as usual. But when you returned, you would discover that your inner clock had carried fewer seconds than theirs. Even your biology cannot escape the bending of time. You lie here now, resting in this truth. You feel your breath as a wave, your heart as a drum, your drowsiness as a tide. All of these are your body's way of telling time. All of them are true. And yet they are also relative, connected to place, speed, and gravity. The human clock within you is both intimate and cosmic. It ties you to the earth, to the sun, to the galaxies. It whispers that you are not apart from the universe, but part of its flow. Your seconds are not merely yours. They are the universe's gift, bent and shaped by forces you cannot see. And so, as you rest, you feel gratitude for this hidden harmony. You are a clock within clocks, a rhythm within rhythms, a heartbeat within the cosmos. The gentle flexibility of time. You now see time not as rigid, but as a fabric that breathes and bends. Every star, every heartbeat, every orbit is part of its quiet rhythm. You rest in the knowledge that time is not lost, only stretched. And as you drift to sleep, you wonder how tomorrow's seconds will feel. You have walked through many landscapes of time. You felt it in your own breath and heartbeat. You saw it shaped by gravity's hand, bent by speed, stretched at the edge of black holes, harmonized by satellites, and whispered within your own biology. Each step has revealed the same truth. Time is not rigid. It is flexible, gentle, alive. For most of your life, you may have thought of time as an iron chain, each second locked tightly to the next, unchanging and universal. You were told that an hour is always an hour, that a day is always 24 hours, that clocks everywhere tick the same. But now you sense that this is not the whole story. Time is not an iron chain, it is a fabric. Imagine a sheet of silk, stretched wide, rippling softly in the breeze. Place a stone on it, and the sheet bends. Drop another, and it curves again. The fabric shifts, but it does not break. It holds. Time is like this. The earth bends it, the sun bends it, black holes bend it most of all, and you too bend it with your motion, with your place, with your life. This flexibility is not violent, it is gentle. The bending of time is not a shattering but a stretching. It is not chaos but harmony. Each place in the universe carries its own rhythm, and together they form a vast symphony, each voice slightly different yet beautifully interwoven. Think again of the astronaut circling Earth, her clock drifting from yours. Think of the twin who waits and the twin who travels. Think of the mountain peak where seconds run faster and the sea where they slow. None of these cancel each other. All of them coexist, layered into the same fabric. Time does not lose itself when it stretches. It only adjusts, reshapes, flows differently. Now reflect inward once more. Your body is not broken by these shifts. Your heartbeat still beats. Your breath still rises and falls. Your inner clock still guides you. The flexibility of time does not tear you apart. It carries you gently the way a current carries a leaf downstream. You live fully within your own seconds, even as the universe bends them. And in this lies comfort. For if time can bend without breaking, then so can you. Your life too is not rigid. It stretches, it adapts, it flows. The flexibility of time is mirrored in the flexibility of your spirit. Consider the moments when time feels different to you, when joy makes hours vanish, when waiting makes minutes crawl, when grief makes days feel endless, when love makes them feel fleeting. Your perception of time is as flexible as time itself. You are woven into its elasticity, experiencing it both in physics and in feeling. The universe, then, is not a machine ticking in cold uniformity. It is a living fabric breathing with stars, with planets, with you. The seconds you carry are not lost when they stretch. They are simply transformed, part of a rhythm greater than your own. Think of light traveling across space. It leaves a star perhaps billions of years ago and moves outward, steady and unwavering. By the time it reaches your eyes, the universe has changed, galaxies have drifted, time itself has stretched along its path. Yet the light still arrives. It has not been lost, it has only been shaped. Your seconds are like that. They may stretch, they may slow, they may run faster or slower depending on where you are. But they are never gone. They are part of a greater flow, a continuity that holds you even as it bends. Pause here and feel the calm in this truth. The gentle flexibility of time is not something to fear. It is something to rest within. It means that you are not trapped, you are carried. It means that the universe is not brittle, it is resilient. It means that your life is not a rigid path, but a soft one, capable of bending, of adapting, of flowing in unexpected ways. Imagine again the silk sheet rippling, bending, shifting with every weight upon it. Now imagine lying down upon it yourself. It holds you, it stretches beneath you, but it does not break. This is the gift of time. It is strong not because it is rigid, but because it is flexible. And so you live not in one time, but in many. The time of your body, the time of the earth, the time of satellites above, the time stretched at black holes, the time of galaxies drifting apart. Each is different, yet all are one. When you step into tomorrow, you will carry your own seconds. They will feel ordinary, familiar. You will not notice their flexibility. But now, as you rest, you know they are alive. You know they are part of a universe that bends gently around you. The gentle flexibility of time is not a limitation. It is a gift. It is what allows you to live in harmony with a vast cosmos, to be part of something larger without losing your own rhythm. It is what allows your heart to keep beating, your breath to keep rising, even as the stars stretch their light across eternity. And as you drift toward sleep, you hold this thought close. Time is not lost. It is stretched. It is not rigid. It is soft. It is not distant. It is here, breathing with you. The arrow of time and entropy. Time feels soft and flexible, yet it always moves in one direction. You can remember yesterday, but not tomorrow. This one-way flow is guided by entropy, the universe's quiet drift toward disorder. In its unfolding, you glimpse why the arrow of time points only forward. You have just rested in the gentle flexibility of time, sensing it as a fabric that bends, stretches, and holds you without breaking. The image was comforting. Time is silk, carrying you like a current. But now another question rises softly, like a shadow behind the light. If time is so flexible, why does it only move in one direction? You breathe in, you breathe out. The breath leaves your lungs, but it does not return. Your heartbeat ticks forward, but never backward. You grow older, never younger. The sun sets, night follows, dawn comes again, but yesterday does not reappear. For all its flexibility, time flows with a firmness you cannot deny. This is the arrow of time. Imagine an arrow released from a bow soaring across the air. It does not turn back to the string. It does not return to the archer's hand. It moves forward, always forward. Time, too, has this direction. You are carried with it moment to moment, never able to retrace your path. But why? If time bends and stretches with gravity and speed, if it can slow and quicken, why is it not free to move in reverse? The answer lies in a word whispered through science: entropy. Entropy is the measure of disorder. It is the way things left alone spread out, unravel, disperse. Imagine a cup slipping from your hand and shattering on the floor. The pieces scatter, the pattern becomes more chaotic. You could, in theory, gather every shard and glue them back into a perfect cup. But the universe itself does not do this. Its natural tendency is to move from order into disorder, from neatness into mess, from low entropy into high. This unfolding gives time its arrow. You can remember yesterday because the patterns of yesterday were more ordered and your brain recorded them into memory. But you cannot remember tomorrow, because tomorrow's patterns have not yet unraveled. The universe has not yet spilled forward into that arrangement of disorder. Time moves forward because entropy increases. Pause here and picture an hourglass. Grains of sand fall steadily from the top chamber to the bottom. Each grain falls only once, never rising again. Entropy is like this: the spreading out of possibilities, the scattering of grains. The arrow of time is written in the flow of sand. You may feel a hint of sadness in this, because entropy seems like loss, a cup broken, a body aging, a memory slipping away. But it is not only loss, it is also creation. For from entropy comes growth, variety, complexity. Stars burn because of entropy, oceans flow because of entropy. Life itself unfolds because energy disperses, driving the processes that sustain you. Entropy does not destroy time, it gives time meaning. Now consider your own life. Think of a childhood memory, a moment in the sunlight, a laugh, a sound. That memory belongs to the arrow of time because it is fixed in the past, ordered, unchangeable. You cannot return there, but you can feel it. You can carry it. It is the arrow that makes nostalgia possible, that gives life its sweetness, that makes moments precious, because they will never come again. Without entropy, time might wobble aimlessly forward and back, with no distinction. But with entropy, it moves steadily in one direction, and you move with it. The arrow gives shape to your story. Now imagine the universe itself. At its beginning it was dense and ordered, all matter and energy crowded into a small hot state. Since then, entropy has increased. Galaxies formed, stars ignited, planets cooled, life emerged. The arrow of time is written into the expansion of the cosmos itself. The future holds more disorder than the past, and so the arrow points forward, into that future. Yet even as you reflect on this, you notice the gentleness of it. The increase of entropy is not felt in every breath, every second. It is slow, gradual, like the deep tide of the sea. You live your moments fully, not feeling the universe unravel, but simply moving forward, memory after memory. Let yourself imagine a deck of cards. Shuffled, they form a mess. Ordered, they form a pattern. It is always easier to shuffle than to unshuffle, to scatter than to arrange. This is entropy, and this is why time feels one way. The universe itself prefers the shuffle. But here is the wonder. Even in the shuffle, beauty arises. The stars, the oceans, your heartbeat, all of them are temporary arrangements, islands of order in a sea of increasing entropy. They exist for a time, and then they pass. This passing gives them poignancy, makes them meaningful. A flower is beautiful partly because it fades. A sunset is precious partly because it ends. Entropy makes endings inevitable, but it also makes beginnings possible. Every sunrise is fresh not in spite of entropy, but because of it. The arrow of time carries both loss and renewal, both endings and birth, and so you rest in this awareness. The arrow does not need to be fought. It can be embraced. It reminds you to savor the present, to treasure the seconds as they pass, to understand that their value lies in their one-way flow. Time is flexible, yes, stretching, bending, slowing, quickening, but it is also directional, flowing toward more disorder, carrying you forward whether you notice or not. Together, flexibility and direction create the paradox of time. It can bend, but it cannot turn back. You close your eyes and feel your own arrow. You remember yesterday, faint but vivid. You imagine tomorrow, unknown and waiting. You live in the flow between them, carried forward by entropy, guided by the universe's quiet unfolding. Entropy is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It whispers, life is precious because it moves forward. The moments you hold dear are dear because they cannot be repeated. The arrow of time is the thread that stitches meaning into memory. And as you drift into rest, you sense the arrow not only in your life, but in the cosmos itself. Stars burning out, galaxies drifting, black holes evaporating, all part of the same unfolding. The universe too is carried forward, never back. The horizon of forever. You follow the arrow of time to its distant horizon. Stars burn out, galaxies drift apart, black holes fade to silence. The universe stretches into an endless sea of stillness, and in that horizon you glimpse the quiet shape of forever. You have walked with time through many landscapes, your breath, your heart, the pull of gravity, the stretch of speed, the silence of black holes, the whispers of satellites, the rhythm of your body, the arrow of entropy. Now you arrive at the final question, the one that lingers at the edge of all thought. If time always flows forward, where does it lead? You breathe softly, and your imagination lifts outward, beyond the earth, beyond the stars, into the slow unfolding of the cosmos itself. Time is no longer measured in seconds or hours, but in billions of years, in ages beyond human scale. Here, at this horizon of forever, the story of time reaches its most mysterious chapter. Look first to the stars. They are your nearest companions in the night, steady and bright, the keepers of ancient light. But they are not eternal. Stars are engines burning hydrogen into helium, glowing with fusion. One by one, they will exhaust their fuel. Some will swell into red giants, shedding their outer layers in luminous veils. Others will collapse into white dwarfs, cooling embers that slowly fade. The largest will explode in supernova, leaving behind neutron stars or black holes. The night sky, once scattered with light, will gradually grow darker as entropy spreads. Galaxies too are carried forward. They drift apart as the universe expands, the space between them stretching wider and wider. One day, distant galaxies will slip so far away that their light can never reach us. The stars we see tonight will vanish from the horizon of sight, leaving the universe more isolated, more silent. And the black holes, those deepest wells of gravity where time nearly stops, they too are not eternal. Slowly, across unimaginable spans, they radiate away their energy in a process called Hawking radiation. A black hole that swallows stars will, given enough time, fade into nothing, leaving only emptiness where once there was mystery. This is the long story of entropy, carried to its horizon. The universe itself grows colder, dimmer, more spread out. Energy disperses, order dissolves. The arrow of time points toward a quiet stillness, a sea of near-perfect equilibrium where nothing more can happen. This vision is sometimes called the heat death of the universe, not fire, not destruction, but the opposite, a gentle, endless cooling, a silence so complete that even time itself seems to lose its heartbeat. Pause and rest in this image. Imagine yourself drifting in that distant future. No stars, no galaxies, no warmth of suns, only thin dust and faint radiation spread so widely that nothing stirs. Time continues, but without events, without change. It feels as though it has dissolved, forever becomes a horizon of stillness. And yet even in this vast quiet there is wonder. For the universe has lived, has unfolded, has told its story. It began in fire, in expansion, in creation. It gave birth to stars, to planets, to oceans, to you. Every moment you live is part of that great unfolding, part of the journey toward forever. The arrow of time does not only carry endings, it carries the beauty of beginnings, the miracle of existence, the chance for life to rise, to love, to wonder. Here, at the horizon of forever, you realize that time itself is both fragile and immense. Fragile because your own seconds are fleeting, your days finite. Immense because the universe carries time across scales so vast that they dwarf imagination. You are a heartbeat inside a cosmic symphony, brief yet meaningful, fleeting yet real. Let yourself feel the peace of this. The horizon is not something to fear. It is simply the unfolding of time's story. Just as you accept the night following day, just as you accept your own need for rest after wakefulness, you can accept that the universe too carries its own rhythm, its own cycle. its own eventual stillness. Think of an old song played on a record. The notes rise, the melody flows, the final tones fade into silence. The silence does not erase the song, it completes it. The universe is like this. The silence at the horizon of forever is not a loss, it is the natural completion of a cosmic melody. And yet, even as you rest in this thought, you remember that you are here now, alive within the song. Your seconds are part of the music, your heartbeat part of its rhythm. The horizon may be distant, but the present moment is vivid, glowing, full. This is the gift of time. It carries you forward, yes. It bends and stretches, yes. But it also offers you this moment, the only one you ever truly touch. This breath, this thought, this quiet listening. Eternity may belong to the universe, but now belongs to you. And so, as you drift towards sleep, you carry both truths, the truth of the arrow always forward, and the truth of the present always here. The horizon of forever is vast, but your place within it is intimate, tender, filled with meaning. The stars may fade someday, but tonight they shine for you. The galaxies may drift apart, but tonight their light reaches your eyes. The universe may cool to silence, but tonight you breathe, warm and alive, a living spark in the great unfolding. Forever is not only a distant horizon, it is also this moment, stretched between your past and your future, held in your gentle breath.